Okay, hello and welcome to the Year 9 and 10 Music Video Selfie Musicology task on Leitmotiv. And let's look at the rubric. This is video 3 of a 4-part series. So first of all, let me explain my rubric. I'll just share it with you. And boom. Okay, first I'd like to explain to you that there's 15 different criteria. That sounds like a lot, but when we go through it, you'll notice it's actually not a lot. It's very achievable. As we scroll down the bottom, you'll see that it's out of 100, but it'll be weighted to 20% for your final assessment. I've done this rubric a little bit different to what you may have seen before. So what I've decided to do is to do one box that is essentially the A box. And then that will then move down to high or sound. So let's have a look at that. Number 1 is your focus statement. Now this is a very easy 5 marks, very easy 5 marks, because you've been working on this with your teacher. So the focus statement demonstrates clarity of discussion purpose in one strong and well-articulated opening sentence or statement. You should have that. That's 5 out of 5 if you have that, if you do it at an excellent level. If you do it at a high level, so maybe not perfect, but it's still a high level, you'll go to a 4. And if it's just doing it, sort of you've mentioned a focus statement, but it's a little bit wish-washy, we're looking at about a 3. Okay, that's sound. That's the Nike box. The 3 or the C is what I call the Nike box. You just do it. Tick, you just do it. Okay, so think of that. A C is the Nike box. You just do it. Then we move down to the D and the E. Let's read that one there. I'll just highlight that so you can see it. May have a focus. However, there are issues with addressing the idea of leitmotiv with any purpose. Okay, so with purpose for the D box or with any purpose for the E box. So you've got to talk about the leitmotiv, and that's what we've been talking about in the last 2 videos and the class lessons, is the idea of composer writing a theme that depicts the character or conveys the character on a screen and makes the audience feel a certain way about that character. So if your focus statement doesn't really cover that, then you're going to look at a 2 or a 1 out of 5. But if you're working hard with the teacher to get your focus statement, you should be fine. Number 2, let's move down. There's 10 marks of this one. Has a strong musicological focus and has developed solid musical reason for discussion. Okay, so you've got your focus, but now you've got a musicological reason for the discussion. And some of you have gone on tangents, and I've helped you address those things, like talking about different characters in the movie, different themes. So you might have every student will have a slightly different musicological focus, but this is about the strength of that focus. The student supports their analysis through a highly focused musicological discussion with relevant conceptual evidence to support your ideas. Now, when we talk about conceptual evidence, if you look down here to 5, 6, and 7, that's the concepts: pitch, duration, tone, color. So all these are sort of linked, right? So if you go and tick off 5, 6, and 7, you're going to probably tick off number 2 as well. So in that particular one, even though it says 5 marks for criteria 2, I'm going to mark that 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, and 0. So the double marks for that one, that's probably the best way to think about criteria 2. So moving down to 3, understanding the topic of film music. So let's read the A box. Understands how the music affects the visual. I hope you, after 8 weeks of doing this, I hope you would understand that. Demonstrates a deeper understanding of the wider relevance of the effects that the music has on the film and how the audience can be manipulated to feel a certain way about a character. So you just understand the topic of film music. And most of you are doing that already. So already we're looking at 25 very achievable marks. Let's keep going. Going to the D and the E box does not. This is really good. So if you really want to understand each criteria, read the achieved, read the not achieved, and that will help you understand. You need to read both. You can't just say, this is what I need to do to achieve. You need to look at the not achieved box and make sure you're not doing those things. So let's have a look at that in regards to understanding the film music. Does not demonstrate an understanding of the role of music in affecting the visual in a film. May not successfully make linkages in the effect of music on the audience's understanding of that character on the screen. Always read the achieved and not achieved so you can balance that out and work out what you need to do for your checklist, because this is like a checklist to get to your 100. Okay, so let's move down to criteria 4. This is not a HSC particular criteria, because as you'll notice, the top 3 are actual HSC criteria, because I'm trying to get you ready in year 9 and 10 for when you get to 11 and 12, so you understand these criteria very thoroughly. This is about the background of the composer. This is specific to this task. You need to know a little bit about the composer, and that's what we set up the top there, that you have this wider musicological focus and understanding of the composer and how he fits into the genre, right? But then also the film theme chosen. So some of you have chosen themes that are really leitmotif, and leitmotif meaning that when I hear that theme, I know that's that character. Some of you have been a little bit vague on that, and that's where you may lose a few marks here. So as much as I'll say, yeah, that's okay, I can sort of see that. If you don't back up your leitmotif theme, you might find yourself dropping a few marks in this particular one. So you've got to find a way to really say, yes, this is a leitmotif, even if it's a very obscure one, or maybe technology is obscuring that theme. In some instances, it's sort of linked to a title theme and it's sort of a character theme, those sort of things. You've got to really, really shine. So you're going to have to work harder in that instance to get these 5 marks. In the D&E box, we're looking at basic understanding of the composer and the wider aspects of the movie and the theme, in particular being a leitmotif. Okay, let's move down to 5, 6, and 7. So I'm going to talk about these all as a unit. There's 15 marks up for grabs. And I've said this in the other Viva. You've got to talk about the instruments. You've got to talk about how those sound sources and instruments are used. You then have to talk about why the composer has used those instruments. Okay, this is all the tone color. Any special effects those instruments are using. Why is the composer, keeps coming back to, why has the composer used those special effects to link to that character? Why did they want to use that trill for that particular character? Why? Why did they use a trombone slide? Why did they use a glissando? Why did they use a glissando? Whatever. Why did they use a bow? Why did they use a pizzicato? All this is in the tone color. You've got to think in regards to being the composer, or you've got to think and try and work out what the composer was doing and how they have successfully manipulated the audience. All right, so tone color. Then we move on to pitch, and we've talked about this before. Melody. Then you talk about the harmony. Then you talk about the bass line. Then you talk about major, minor, chromatic, anything like that in particular that's helped create this character. Okay, and then all the little melodic devices down the bottom, they're in your mind maps. Make sure you go and have a look at your mind maps. There's some cool little words in there that we'll be unpacking in this final 2 weeks before you do your assessment. And same with duration, rhythm, beat, tempo, meter, and then all the different rhythmic devices and how that all links to the theme. If you watch my video analysing Raiders and Imperial March, you'll see my idea and how I came up with the idea for my Viva in regards to pitch and rhythm and the similarities and the differences, and I'm raving. You would have already watched my video. Let's move on. Number 8, this is a HSC criteria again. So it uses relevant music examples and video examples and score excerpts to back up your discussion. Uses and compares 3 relevant music and video examples. Could be just 3 audio or 3 visual, or 2 video and 1 audio. It doesn't matter, as long as it's 3 examples, not the action. So if you're using the action videos, they don't count for those 3. Many of you have been saying you'll use video examples at the beginning of your discussion. That's fine. At the action where Darth Vader's coming in or Indiana Jones coming in, but then you do that in the first 30 seconds of each clip. Then when you get into the actual discussion, you're using examples without the action, without the film action. I mentioned that in the other video as well. And then score excerpts. Now, if you don't have score excerpts, a few students have said there's no score excerpts because it's very technology-based and sound effect and manipulated. Then you need to have contour drawings. And we've worked on that in class, where I taught you how to do pitch contour drawings and use graphic notation. So when I say score excerpts, you can use graphic notation in that. So when we go down to a 2 and 1, you may only have 1 or 2 examples. So however, they lack integration and purpose to enrich the focus statement and may not discuss unity and contrast. No score or graphic notation supplied. So remember, unity and contrast is important. In my Viva, I discussed how down the middle, if you remember, I said it's heavy brass, heavy percussion, and then down the bottom I said the genre was marching style. They were the similarities. That was the unity. Then I talked about the contrasting things on the mind map on the right-hand and left-hand side. So must discuss unity, contrast, and even variety. Cool. So there's 5 marks for you. Now, video length. Between 8 and 10 minutes, you will get 5 marks for free. That's it. I'm not going to mark it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You'll get 5 marks if you hit between 8 and 10 minutes. If you submit from 2 to 8 minutes, then you will get 2. I've got 2 or 1. I've got 1 mark there. 1 mark there. So 5 marks or 1 mark. If you go under 2 minutes, you'll get 0. Okay, you've got to at least do 2 minutes. Come on. Yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. Now, once you get to the 10-minute mark, every second after that I stop, I don't mark. So you must get within that 10-minute range. Anything after 10 is I stop. I don't continue marking after 10. Done, finish, complete, finito. But you can still get your 5 marks, right? But I will not listen to anything after 10. Hand it in on time. Yay, 5 marks. There's another 5 marks. Can you see this? You're almost getting to 50%. All you need to do is to go through this checklist and make sure you've done everything. A day late's 4, 2 day late's 3, and then we start deteriorating to almost nothing. And when we get down to that after 4 days, I'll be contacting your parents. I don't think I'll have to do that with this class. So I think you'll be fine. Hand it in on time. 5 marks, slap, done. That could be the difference between you getting a certain rank and getting 1 rank higher. Really important. This is the second part of your Viva. This is the movie editing. If you see a little black part up there, movie editing and creation components. Okay, so this is new for online. So number 11, is that you have good command of the video editing and audio app software. You've handed some great video stuff in with me. You all know how to use iMovie, so there's no excuse. There's another 5 marks. Done. Demonstrates a highly developed understanding of the movie editing apps of choice and command of the related composition and content creation tools. If you use the tools well, I'm going to give you 5. I'm not going to be really nitpicky on this one. It's just like, okay, they've used iMovie really well. They've looked at CapCut because iMovie's a little bit outdated. Let's be honest. But that'll give you, what I normally do is run it through iMovie, save it to my iPad or my computer, depending on what I'm editing on. But I have to use CapCut on my iPad. So I upload it to my iPad. I upload it into CapCut, and that's where I put all my text and things like that. Just so it looks interesting and a bit more exciting than the standard iMovie. We don't want it to look like a school project heading from iMovie. So I highly recommend it. Use it on your iPad, the CapCut, but you can also use it on your phone. Okay, CapCut can be used on your phone. So if you don't have an iPad that's good enough, do your editing on your computer, throw it on your phone and just do a couple of quick edits on your phone, save it, upload it, done. Excellent. Then we move down to number 12, which is the text. Now there's 2 things you need to do here. You need to use text as to emphasize particular points, but also auto captioning. So that's in CapCut. So I've asked you if you can try and use the auto caption feature, because in this day and age, accessibility on websites, any sort of thing you do now, you'll see text is coming up to make sure that people that can't hear can at least see things. In CapCut, there's an auto captioning thing which is really good. You put it on, it finds all the text like on this video here, and then what you need to do then is to go through, just watch it once through and edit a few of the words, because the other day I said glockenspiel and it wrote guacamole. So be very careful. You've got to go through and check the words and just make sure you change some of those words. Creativity. So this is the ones marked out of 10. If you're very creative in your video, there's a good mix between multimedia and you talking and your face on the screen and the videos coming well. Okay, there's 10 marks up again. That goes 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 0. Again, double marks for each of those. Another double mark one is engagement. So engagement, this is really easy. I'm talking passionately right now, then I will get a 10 out of 10. That's as simple as that. I want you to be engaged in this discussion. It is a passionate discussion. It's one of the criterias that they mark. They say is engaged in their discussion, their musicological focus in a HSC examination. All right, we're doing a video. So make it, sell it, be interested, don't be over the top. Okay, don't be ridiculously over topic. I'm going to like, just be passionate about what you're talking like this, like I am right now. Talk about it and talk about your theme and why you chose it and all that sort of stuff. But just be passionate and engaged in your discussion, because I don't want you sitting there going, okay, now the theme is here. I want to hear passion in your voice. Next thing, shows your face well. Okay, I want to see your face. There's 10 marks up for showing your face. Doesn't mean you have to be in the whole thing like I am right now, but it does mean at points I want to see your face. I want to hear you speaking. I want to see you I want to see you promoting this video and this theme and this concept and this musicological focus. I want to see your face. If I don't see your face and I only hear your voice, you're going to get 4. You've just lost 6 marks, which is really, really silly. This is not going to get shown to anyone. It's only me that's going to see it. So just go, all right, look, I'm going to get over that. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to put my face in, frame it like I've got right here. Make sure that I can see your whole face, but definitely I want to see your real face in the video. And that's 10 marks. There's your 100. That's how you get 100 out of 100 for your Viva Selfie. Any questions, email me, please. So I'm going to go through them very, very quickly. Have a good focus statement, a musicological focus. Make sure you understand the concept of film music. You give me a little bit of a background of the composer and the film music and the film theme that you've chosen, but don't go to too much detail on it because it's about the music, which leads me down to the next ones. The concept of tone color, pitch, and duration. Make sure you talk to me about that. That's where the important part of the discussions come in, because those 3 concepts, something 5, 6, and 7, are linked to so many other parts and so many other criteria. Relevant musical examples, okay, and video examples. Make sure your video length goes the right time. Hand it in on time. Then make sure you have a good understanding of how to use iMovie. There's an easy one. Use text. Use the auto captioning in CapCut. Okay, we'll do a lesson on that this week. Week 9 coming up, we'll do an auto captioning thing. And then creativity. Be creative with your video selfie. There's 10 marks up for creativity. Okay, engagement. Make sure you're passionate, engaged. Really, really, really sell what you're doing, but don't oversell it. Okay, I don't want car salesman pitches happening either. It's got to be believable passion and believable engagement, and show your face, and that's it. 100 marks up for grabs. Okay, good luck. Well, as I said, email me any questions, and I'll see you when I'm going to see you in week 10 when we do our mind map departure passports, before you then have 3.5 weeks to do your video for your video selfie major project. Good luck. See you later. I'll stop talking now and see ya.